So, Sir Joust says, how would you deal with a group that feels they have no direction, but refuses to bite any hooks you give? By the way, if you have Dungeon Master questions you'd like me to answer, I have Q&A live streams every single week on Twitch. Not only do we usually have a fun time, but I often have giveaways too. You can follow me on Twitch at the link below. Example, the party is looking for someone and follows a trail of blood. The trail ends abruptly in the middle of the street. A player asks if they can do a perception check to see anything, and on a decent roll I say, you see a face in a nearby window that ducks back when you make eye contact. The players don't act on this. You're screwed. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do at this point? It's like, holy crap. You gave them all the information they needed to continue forward with the story, with the plot, with the mystery, with the investigation, with the series of scenes that you had set up. You gave them everything they needed. And they were just like, okay. It doesn't even sound like they were like confused and didn't understand it. Like, why wouldn't you act on that? It's like, well, I saw a face in the window and he ducked away. It must have nothing to do with the blood. Just walk away. Like, as a dungeon master, there's not a whole lot you can do with that. Except for just pause the game and be like, hey guys, what's going on here? Like you literally tracked the blood. You made a roll. I told you there was somebody in the house that ducked away. I feel like it was pretty obvious that they were acting suspiciously, and then you all just walked away. And now you all are telling me you don't know what to do next. Like, did I miss something here? Was there a miscommunication? Did we not understand what I was describing to you? It's possible. Like, it's possible that they didn't understand what you were trying to communicate to them. Maybe it wasn't described well enough to them and they were confused. I don't know. But there definitely reaches a point where the dungeon master can only do so much. The players have to meet him halfway. The players have to put forth some effort too. And the players have to make a decision to go follow that lead, to go look at that house where that person ducked out of sight. Like, you could only do so much as a dungeon master. But I would say that if you find yourself in that position, it's okay to just pause the game and have a heart-to-heart with your players and just be like, okay guys, what happened there? Did you not understand? Like, why did you walk away? Like, why did you not go? Like, do you want to play this adventure? Do you want to play a different game or something? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what signals are here. Like, what's going on? You know, like, yeah, I don't know. There's not much else I can do here. I gave you information and you didn't do anything with it. So I'm not sure what you want me to do at this point. So I would just level with them and just be like, what up? Help me, please, because I don't know what to do here. It's like, I can give you a hamburger with French fries, fresh French fries, lightly dusted with salt, and this burger has like lettuce and tomatoes and cheese. It's like a thick patty, okay? Just like juicy burger. You know, I can put a fan in front of that burger and just waft that aroma up to your face, you know, and just be like, oh, there it is. I can put like some lighting, some special lighting. I can put a key light and a fill light here to give it this special effect, you know, some like little LED backlighting and stuff, make it look really, really cool, you know, and that hamburger could be so tantalizingly delicious. But if they don't reach out and take a bite out of it, what are you gonna do? I don't know what you do. Talk about the hamburger with them because it needs to be talked about. Would you mind giving us a quick overview on how you take your DM notes? Sure, I'm happy to show you that crap. I don't know what you mean by how I take my DM notes, but let's take a look at some junk. So the first thing that I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull up something from one of my games for you, and I'll show it to you. Let's go to an Ancient Dragon campaign. This is the campaign I run for my patrons. And let me pull something up. I gotta pull something up that they already did. Okay. All right. So this is a quest they recently ran, and these are my notes for the quest. This is the preparation that I did to run this game for them. I have some high-level DM notes. I have a basic storyline that I wrote out of what's going on. I have some locations I detailed. I have some brief notes about some NPCs that will occur in the game. I don't tend to prepare a whole lot for NPCs. I improvise a crap ton when I'm running an NPC. So you're never going to see very heavy notes for NPCs for me. I have inciting actions. I have a little encounter they're going to have. I have some information about a town that they run into and some different things in the town. And this is all bullet points. For this one, I just made bullet points. When they go into this swamp, there are 3 different encounters they're going to have. One with a corpse flower, one with a rot troll, one with will-o-wisps. And I just have some basic notes about what those are. So I'm planning out the game session is what this is. And then when they finally get to this place right here, there's some notes about that. And then there's an actual dungeon in here. And what I did for this dungeon, I literally, check this out. I literally just found a map. Is this working? Yeah. I literally just found a map online and just used this map. And I wrote my adventure according to this map. And so I detail out every single room. And these are my notes for those different rooms. This is just how I write out my notes for my adventure. It's very detailed, a lot of this. This is probably way beyond what I suspect most dungeon masters write out. I have 10 pages in a Word document for one adventure, and I think it took us about 2 or 3 game sessions to do this adventure. So it's a pretty beefy. This is how I do. That's how I design an adventure for my groups. Right, so you got the adventure designed out right here. This is what I do just for my normal groups. And then, in this case, I took a map off the internet and just used this map I found. I was like, oh, I'll just use that map. A lot of times, actually, this is something that I do a lot. A lot of times, it is easier for me to start with a map and then design an adventure to the map. It actually is easier in a lot of ways for me, and helps me. So I do that quite a bit, actually. And then the other thing that I do have other notes that I'll take in OneNote that I'll show you here. So I'll just show you some notes as well. This is from that same game session. So I have some basic notes that I'll put in here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can actually see this stuff. I have some basic notes that I'll put here. Yeah, we just played a few days ago. Oh, that date's wrong. Let's change that date. Whee! The date and the time where they were. This is like at the end of the session. Wait, this is the session. This is the beginning of the session. Anyway, that's the beginning of the session. It's just a session start notes. That's where they were at the beginning of the session. These are my notes from the previous session. And then when the session ends, at the very end of the session, after we're done playing, I will take a whole bunch of notes about what they did during that game session. Because here's the thing, I have a horrible memory. And so I have to write down everything that they did so that 2 weeks from now, when I'm preparing for that game session we're gonna have, I can read what they did last time and refresh my memory. Otherwise, I'm gonna have no idea what they did. And so I take a bunch of notes here. Some other things that I'll note down. I have a basic outline of stuff that I imagine is going to happen during like a game session. I have future plot points. These future plot points are all things. These are all things that have happened in the game that are possible hooks I can use in the future for future adventures. For instance, they ended up waking up a Titan. They woke up a Titan who went on a rampage. That will probably, something will come of that in the future. They ran into an old lady in the swamp and they made a sort of arrangement with her. I have notes on that. There's a coven of hags now that have combined forces against them. Something will happen with that. They owe a favor to the Church of Tyr. Dran Enterprises out to get them. So like I have stuff, just bunches of notes here of things that they have done in the game world. And the intention here is that in the future, some of these things will come back to haunt them. I will use these things as entire adventures, things that will happen to them, and they will have to go on an adventure and resolve these things and fix these things. And these are all things that are because of decisions they have made in the game world. Right now, the adventure that they are going on is, let me go back a few game sessions here and show you some game notes I have from before. It's probably in here, right here. So I had to go back a few game sessions. Right here, this right here is one of my future plot hooks that I decided was time to implement. So right now, this 𝐑𝐂𝐄𝐒 person is exacting revenge on them. This is a villain that they encountered quite some time ago, that got away. And now this villain who got away wants revenge. And so he has basically, what did he do? He used some of his contacts to plant drugs. My players' characters have a whole bunch of different properties they own throughout the world of Waterdeep, the city of Waterdeep. They have about 3 or 4 different properties that they own in Waterdeep. And he had his contacts and people he hired and stuff plant drugs in their properties in Waterdeep. And then he used a magister who is corrupt and can be hired to basically have the police raid all of their properties, seize the drugs, and arrest their staff. And now there is an arrest warrant out for the characters themselves. And so now the characters can't go back to Waterdeep. All of their properties have been seized. There was an arrest warrant out for them. There was a considerable amount of drugs that were found. And it's all because they let this villain get away, and he was very upset. Here's the other thing too. When they were sent on this mission to go into this 𝐑𝐂𝐄𝐒's house, they were explicitly told, only take the sword collection. Do not take anything else from his manor. And they didn't do that. They stole a whole bunch of other loot from his manor that was worth a whole lot. And that is another one of the big reasons. Actually, that is the reason 𝐑𝐂𝐄𝐒 is coming after them, because they took the other stuff. The stealing of the sword collection wasn't a big deal. 𝐑𝐂𝐄𝐒, he has an ex-wife, basically, Spanova, and they are both 𝐑𝐄𝐒. They have had a feud going on for centuries, where each of them basically is stealing the sword collection back and forth, and they'll use intermediaries to carry on this feud. And so if they had only stolen the sword collection, nothing would have came of this. They would have been just fine. But because they chose to steal other things, 𝐑𝐂𝐿 was like, oh, okay, this is now personal. You're not just working for Spanova, this is personal. And so I am gonna come after you. And he is doing a whole bunch of stuff to make their lives absolutely miserable. And now they have to go on a mission to resolve this problem. And this is an example of how I will take my players' decisions in the game, and I will later on use it, you could say use it against them, but I'll use it in the game world in a way that that shows that their decisions and actions have effects in the world, have consequences, and that they're not meaningless, you know? So this is just one example of that. And my players, as soon as this started happening and they found out that it was 𝐑𝐂𝐿, they knew exactly why this was happening. Like a couple of them were like, yep, it's because we took something besides the swords. And they all knew that it was their own fault that all of this crap was happening to them. So there's some information about the game notes that I take, and a cool little story for you. Is it time for 6th edition? Here's the thing. You have to wait until the game is completely broken by Splat books. Once they've released enough Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, once there's enough stuff floating on or out there that everything is kind of becoming broken, everything gets bloated and broken, and you have crazy broken character combinations. The CR system is totally destroyed because, you know, they have the monster manual. The monsters there are pretty weak compared to Volo's Guide to Everything. And then the monsters there are pretty weak compared to Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So as they continue to release resources that slowly make the core rules not work so well and everything becomes a little bit more and more broken, it's like there's a tipping point, right, where everything is too broken, and then the community is complaining and they're just like, it's broken, fix it, and you know, and then Wizards of the Coast swoops in and they're like, aha, we are going to fix your problem. We have spoken with our community members, and we love our dear players and our dungeon masters, and we understand that over the years, all of these different resources have led to a state of the game that is no longer desirable, and things don't work quite so well as they once did. So we, in the best interests of the game, have a solution for you, and we will be releasing in 6 months 6th edition, which will solve all of these problems. It will reel in all of the brokenness and make things more playable once more. So we have heard you, we have heard your concerns, and we are doing something to address them. And 6 months from now, we will be rolling out 6th edition, which will fix all of these issues that we have and hopefully bring this game to an even better state than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And so that, I think I just found another reason why Splat books do what they do. Holy crap. Could it be an actual intentional desire to break the game through Splat books so that a new edition is required to fix the problem? Could it be an intentionally engineered problem that will herald in a new edition? Because as we know, publishing companies, game companies, like you don't make money if you don't create new editions. You have to let an old edition die at some point and create a new edition. There will always be a new edition. There will never be the final edition. It will never happen. There will always be another one. That is how you make money, and businesses need to make money. This is why, for anybody who goes to school, like college and university, you know that you have a math book that is 7th edition. And if you take that 7th edition math book and you go compare it to the 6th edition, you will notice there's almost no difference. Hey, guess what? Math didn't change in 2 years. The math that was in 6th edition is the same as the math in 7th edition. No new breakthroughs in mathematics have happened in 2 years. So why are they making a new edition of the book? It's to make money. So I don't know. Is it possible that Wizards intentionally engineers, like, each Splat book gets a little bit more broken, and there are like broken combinations and stuff until the whole mass just kind of, and then they are like, it's time for 6th edition. Is that a thing? I don't know, but could be.